This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 168, and this week I am pleased to be joined by a returning guest. Hello, Gerard.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me back on. Looking forward to yelling at each other about our opinions, I'm sure, this episode.
Yeah, we apparently didn't see eye to eye in the Champion Carnival, so we'll go through that. But I am very happy to have you back here for the start of tournament season. We'll be doing a Champion Carnival review of the first two shows. We'll be doing a big preview of the G1 Climax, and we'll do a shorter preview of the N-1. I think we'll do the G1 preview first, the Champion Carnival review in the middle, and then we'll finish up with a little N1 preview. So it should be exciting. But yeah, it's tournament season. All these tournaments are running at once. It should be a lot of fun. We'll be covering it both on the free feed and the Patreon, so I'll talk a little bit about that in a sec. But how you just been doing, Gerard, other than wrestling stuff, I guess?
Pretty good. It has been actually mostly like wrestling stuff. I've also been catching up on like some big Japan, and then I watched a Noah August 30th show last night, actually.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I didn't see any of that, so I missed. I'm just like, I figured I need to take a break before I start all these tournaments at once, so I don't like to decrease my chances of like totally burning out. So the only thing I watched recently was like, I watched a couple matches from the New Japan September 11th show. I didn't even watch the whole thing. Just wanted to give myself a little break. But, now it's tournament season, and it'll be nonstop for the next month, pretty much. So it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on right now, and of course, here on the free feed, we'll be covering it. I talked about this last week, but the basic schedule will be free feed will be the weekend shows, Patreon will be weekday shows. So that's basically how it's going to go. So if you want the complete coverage, you need to sign up for the Wrestling Omakase Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Before I talk about the tournament schedule a little bit, I will mention that there's plenty of other content on there too. We just wrapped up about 2 weeks ago the Tetsuya Naito versus Tomohiro Ishii series, where we talk about one episode in each match. Also talk about everything else went on between those matches for Naito and Ishii. So that's it's a 10-episode series. There's, shorter episodes, like 20 or 30 minutes, but, got some very positive feedback on that. So definitely worth checking out. We did me and Chris Samsa, who's going to be on next week, actually, on the free feed. We did a G1 Climax special edition of the 5 matches episode format, where we picked 5 random G1 matches from the past. That went up last week. That was a lot of fun, too. We talked about Kenny Omega and Naito number 3, completed that trilogy. We talked about Ibushi and Nakamura from 2013. We did the Akiyama Tenzan 2003 final. A whole bunch of stuff. And then this past week, I took submissions from patrons who wanted to submit a match for me to talk about, and I did 2 of them this past week. And we'll get back to those after all these tournaments are over, because there's still like 7 more that I need to do. But yeah, the matches this past week, they were one of them was submitted by you, Toshiaki Kawada versus Genichiro Tenryu, and the other one was by another patron named Jacob, who asked us to do Tetsuya Naito versus Evil from the 2016 G1, which very timely, honestly, because both with the G1 about to start and the recent Naito Evil matches, it was fun just to compare and contrast. So yeah, those are a lot of fun. I mean, that one was fun, and the Kawada Tenryu especially was really fun because I got to talk a lot about the really, really messy, interesting All Japan period post right after the All Japan Noah split in 2000, because this was, of course, the tournament final for the vacant title that happened back, when Kenta Kobashi left All Japan along with nearly the entire roster, except for 2 native wrestlers and some of the foreigners, most of the foreigners actually, but left to form Noah, so he had to vacate the Triple Crown, and this was the tournament final for the Triple Crown, featuring a guy who had walked out of the company 10 years earlier with his own exodus, coming back as like a little mini savior. It was super interesting to talk about. So thank you for that picture art. I had a lot of fun. And if you're not signed up for the Patreon, definitely check it out on there.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, and I really appreciate the work that John did on it, and you got it right, I think, and you were especially right about how bad that tournament fucking sucked, other than the final. Because I've seen the commercial tape of that tour, and not all the tournament matches are complete, but they're more complete than on that Daily Motion video.
Yeah, they're only about 1 minute each on that Daily Motion video, or even less, probably some of them 10 seconds. But they look like shit because it's it's Stan Hansen right before he was going to retire and could barely move.
The thing with Hansen is his back literally gave out on that tour.
Oh yeah,
and that's when he decided to retire because he felt, because I read his autobiography a couple months ago, and his point was if he felt like he dropped below a certain level, he was just going to retire. So yeah, it literally happened on that tour.
Yeah, and the other guys really weren't. I mean, you had Mike Barton, just a former Bart Gunn, and I don't know. It's when Shiro Koshinaka in 2000 is probably the best worker out of the Tenryu and Kawada. It's not good, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun just talking about that whole period too. It's Tenryu walking out on the company and then coming back a decade later, just hey, I'm back to help. It's just kind of funny. And I totally forgot until I started researching the episode that Kawada was Tenryu's junior partner for 3 years before Tenryu left the company.
Yeah, they were all in Revolution with Fuyuki Ashurahara and Yoshinari Ogawa, actually.
Yeah.
And that 1988, if you really want to see the peak of Tenryu Kawada partnership, 88 Real World Tag League Finals versus Hansen and Gordy, and I think that won match of the year in the Observer too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I haven't seen that match in forever, but I definitely have to check that out now.
Well, it's crazy because basically back then Quada wrestled a junior style.
Right. Basically. That I do remember. He was really fast, but and they got a tag title shot against Jumbo and Yoshiaki Yatsu at 89 as well, and it's it was kind of funny because obviously Yatsu would also go off with Tenryu to form SWS, but did not work out for them.
Also, the only reason Kawada was Tenryu's partner and elevated that because he had basically just been an opening match jobber up until 1988, which was his first ever push. Because Ashurahara, who would later pop up in War, he got turfed for gambling debts, which is a common way of getting turfed out of Japanese wrestling companies, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to, Bone Soldier, right? The guy from New Japan?
Didn't Yasuda, too?
Allegedly. Yes, Yasuda, I remember that.
Yeah.
I guess also allegedly. But yeah.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. They baiting on the horses too much, I guess. Because I walked, I've seen, these, by Korakuen, right next to Korakuen, there's this giant, horse betting parlor. So I wonder if they're just walking over there after the show and betting, or if it's probably more illicit debts that are even worse. But yeah, I mean, these horse racing that you walk by Korakuen and you just see I don't know, row after row after row of these old men standing at these betting windows and just going over their bets. And I don't know, it was a very weird thing to walk past. Right by Korakuen Hall. It's kind of hidden. You kind of can't. You have to go under this overpass, and then suddenly you're in horsey land or horsey betting land.
But the laws in gambling in Japan are kind of weird, right?
Yeah, there's
Because
only
like
certain
I thought the whole
things.
thing with like the pachinko bars is like they give you like tokens and you redeem them for like prizes.
Yeah, horse
Sort of a
betting.
way.
Horse betting is one of the only things that's like just completely allowed.
Okay.
So yeah, because they have a lot of horse tracks, and they have these off-site betting, just like New York has had forever. So yeah, I mean, I'm almost 100% sure on this. I definitely walked by this horse betting thing, but yeah, in general, gambling in Japan is not a big thing. I mean, they are. I mean, the pachinko. You have to like win. You win like a booby prize and bring it to a window and give it to an associate.
And isn't it in like a different like property?
Yeah, it's
like,
just different.
Yeah,
it's usually very
thing.
close. It's usually very close, but yeah, it's different property. But yeah, they did legalize gambling finally. They're supposed to be integrated like casino resorts. I think they're calling them, like I think in like 10 years or something. But it's gonna take a while to build them, I guess. But yeah, they did. I mean, I know Abe wanted that for years and years before they finally. His Buddhist coalition partner, the Buddhist party, did not want it, so it took.
Well, if you want tours to up your tourism, you need casinos. Basically, that's what like every other country that has like been aggressive on expanding tourism has done. So
yeah, I guess that's I mean that's been their whole thing. So yeah, not good right now, obviously, but I assume it will eventually be a thing again. But anyway, we're very off topic here. So patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. That is where you want to go to get all the coverage we talked about here, plus the upcoming tournament coverage. So Tuesday, Champion Carnival Night 3. Same day the show, we will have a Patreon bonus. So if you want to hear us talk about that show, it will be exclusively on the Patreon. Friday also, the opening night of the N-1 Victory from Nagoya. That will be a standalone Patreon show, and that show is airing live on Samurai, and on DT Universe, I think. So I will be able to do that same day. So yeah, those two shows this week, that'll be on the Patreon exclusively. Only $5. You can hear me talk all about them. And then next week, the Patreon goes crazy, where Monday the 21st, we have a Champion Carnival night at Korakuen. Tuesday the 22nd, we have an N1 Victory night at Korakuen. And then Wednesday the 23rd is this nuts day where Thomas Fishback is going to join me on the Voice of Wrestling for a special. We're going to call it a full episode of Omakase because we're doing 3 shows in one day. G1 Night 3 at Hokkaido, N1 Victory the day show that airs on Universe, and then N1 Victory the night show at Korakuen, both at Korakuen, that airs on Abema. So that'll be crazy. And then Thursday the 24th will also be a G1 Climax Night 4 from Hokkaido. Only on the Patreon. So a lot of Patreon stuff coming up in the next 2 weeks. All you gotta do is pay $5. You get all of it. You get all the stuff we've already done. We did a King of DDT coverage. We did Tokyo Joshi Princess Cup coverage. So we've done other tournaments. We'll do the DO. I know that's coming up after all these other tournaments are over. So you'll get plenty of tournament coverage if you want to hear tournament audio. The Omakase Patreon's the place to go. We'll have other guests too. I know Thomas will be on that one with me. I believe there'll be another. Paul is going to come on for another Patreon little episode with on Monday, October 5th, where we'll do the Champion Carnival Finals and the G1 Night 9. So from Takamatsu. So it'll be a lot of fun. Definitely check that out. It's patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Only $5. I think this is a great time to join. Get all the tournament coverage plus everything else we do. So definitely check it out. Okay, let's get into the G1 Climax, which is going to kick off on the 19th, this coming Saturday as we record this, from Osaka. We got the blocks last week, and then we also got all the matches. So I'm going to go through the entrance in each block, and then Gerard and I will basically, as I read each person, we're not going to do odds because they did that on the flagship already, but we're just going to say, do we think this person has any chance of winning the block and any chance of winning the entire tournament? And I'll let Gerard go first on the A block, I guess. So let's start with the A block. Our first entrant is Kota Ibushi. It's his 6th entry in the G1, his 4th consecutive entry, and he, of course, was the winner last time. Gerard, do you give Ibushi a good chance to win either the block or the tournament?
I give him a pretty good chance of winning the block, and sort of not an out of left field choice to win. I think it hasn't been that long, but they've kind of sat on another Ibushi Naito match, and that might not be the worst match if you don't have a full dome to do, actually.
Yeah.
And they can just go over and destroy each other's necks in front of maybe 15 to 20,000 people.
Yeah, I can see it. I think he's a much better chance of winning the block. I find it a little hard to believe he's going to win back-to-back G1s. I mean, they haven't had anyone do that since what? You're talking Tenzan, right? I think nobody's. Yes. So Tenzan would have been the last one. I mean, it's just been so long. I just don't know if they're going to give that to Ibushi. I mean, when was Tenzan? It was like 05, 06?
0304.
Okay, 0304. Did he win 06 too, maybe? That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, he's won 3 G1.
Yeah, so like 0304 or 06 probably. But yeah, I mean, like, it's been so long for him for that. So I mean, you could also argue maybe they're due to have another back-to-back winner, but I just think that's the kind of thing, I don't know if they're going to give that to Ibushi. And I agree that they're holding Naito Ibushi for something, but it could easily be just for something later in 2021 too. So I don't know. I think even him getting to 3 straight finals seems a little unlikely to me. I think he'll, obviously be in the mix, but I think I don't think he's going to get to another final. But I guess
given he still hasn't won the IWGP Heavyweight title yet, I mean, he could sort of almost be like a Chono and just constantly be a top G1 guy instead.
That's true. But people thought that was going to be Naito for a long time. But I'm sorry. What were we going to say?
Oh, I think I could see my prediction is Naito beats Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, and then sometime in 2021 he drops the title to Ibushi.
Yeah, that's very likely.
Yeah,
that's very possible. The second entry, Jeff Cobb, his second consecutive entry, second entry total. 0 chance I think Jeff Cobb makes the final or wins. I mean, almost. They'd be out of their minds. I mean, why would they?
The question is, does Cobb even hit a positive record of 5-4, which I'm not even sure that's going to happen. Although, I mean, he was teasing I've signed with someone and I'll reveal it later, but it seems like it's New Japan he signed with, basically, right?
Well, I mean, you'd think so. I mean, it's what he wanted, I think. So I don't know where else. I mean, where else would it be at this point? I don't know.
Yeah. I know why he's being sort of coy on it now.
Yeah, I mean, he said something like he wants to let them announce it, so I guess maybe New Japan will announce it. I don't know.
They basically did. They put him in the regular army instead of an ROH, behind his name, type thing on the whatever. But.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I mean, so maybe they'll officially say something. I don't know. Maybe it's just weird because of COVID. I mean, from what I understand, these guys. I mean, Japan changed the guideline on coming into the country on September 1st. So, and you need a 14-day quarantine. So, they did not know that Cobb, White, and Juice were going to be able to make it until, a few days before they announced this. So, I guess maybe they just didn't have a ton of, because they announced it September 9th. So, yeah, I mean, they, presumably they needed a few days to get the visas together between the 1st and the 9th. So, who knows when they, when they even knew that they were going to be able to make it. It's very fascinating. But, I mean, maybe they lost track of announcing him as a roster member and all the craziness. Because I assume Kenta would have been able to come. I mean, he's a citizen. He could always get in the country. It was just, Did he want to sit through the 14-day quarantine, I guess, with his family and stuff. But the third entry, Kazuchika Okada, his 9th entry, his 9th consecutive. He has won the G1 twice in 2012 and 2014. I think this is most people's favorites to win it all. I don't think he'll win the block unless he'll win the block unless he's going to win the tournament. I don't see them having him lose in another final after he lost it. I mean, he talked about this. Maybe they're going to make this his story for the year because he did a little promo after the at the end of the show, at the end of his match at Korakuen, where he's like, I lost the double title match on January 5th to Naito. I lost the New Japan Cup final to Evil. I lost the Never Six-Man finals, and then I lost the KOPW finals. So, maybe I think it's very likely they're doing that as a story to set him up finally winning a final in the G1. Maybe they're going to do it as a story where he just loses every final this year, and, this is just his year to take some lumps finally. But I don't see that. I think he'll either win it all or he won't make the final. But, I think it's he's an easy favorite. The only way it wouldn't happen, I think, is if they just decide they don't want to, blow off Okada Naito in a half-empty dome.
He's also my favorite, but I can't put a guaranteed lock on it. But I just don't really see what else would make sense. And since we're already by September 19th, isn't Japan going to just 50% capacity regardless of the number?
Yes.
I mean, it's probably not impossible that by January we get 60 or 75 or 80% too, right?
Yeah, if the numbers stay low.
Yeah, if the numbers stay low. Yeah. So, I mean, you still might want a big main event in your back pocket that you can run.
It's true. I mean, I definitely could see it. I think it comes down to about 3 or 4 guys, and I think Okada is definitely one of them. So I'll name the others as we go along, I guess. The next one, Tomohiro Ishii, 8th entry, 8th consecutive. Of course, he is one of the never openweight 6-man tag team champions. I love that they put that on the New Japan site, like a major accomplishment. Never openweight 6-man tag team champion. Of course, Ishii has no chance to win the block or win the tournament. I'm sorry, nerds. He never does. One of those things you got to learn to accept. Some people never learn to accept it, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, Geto's not a gold watch guy.
No.
Right?
I mean, the last gold watch reign would have been what? Like Nakanishi? And that was like...
And I don't think Geto was booking.
No,
wasn't that
was Choshu.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely not happening. So the real question is how many 4-star matches or above will he have, kind of thing. Can he carry Yujiro to a 4-star match?
That'll be interesting, for sure. I mean, they kind of tease going after each other or something. I'm like, okay. That's what we're doing, apparently. Will Ospreay, 2nd entry, 2nd consecutive. I have to say it out loud because I'll be disappointed in myself if I don't. What Will Ospreay did to Pollyanna was despicable, and I believe victims, and I don't like Will Ospreay, and he shouldn't be in this tournament. He's not going to win.
Well, I think
he could win the block. He could win the block.
I think he'll be alive on the last night.
Yeah, I do too.
But I also just have to say I think if you not to be
don't harass Japanese fans, by the way.
Well, that too. And just these Japanese companies, there are if you look at some of the people and some of the the Japanese, what some Japanese wrestlers have done, and they have been allowed back in to wrestling. Some of them Sugi.
Yeah.
And Taishi Takizawa.
Yeah.
He took a year or 2 off, but was brought back to K Dojo and had over a year-long reign with their title after he got arrested for voyeurism. So that's the state of the business and something that fans have to realize. That's not a defense, but that's just unfortunately how it is.
Yeah, and please don't DM Japanese fans. I couldn't believe when I heard that. I'm like, what are you doing? They don't know. You don't need to. It's you're gonna DM them in a foreign language and basically get mad at them for liking a wrestler who I don't know. I mean, I don't like Will Ospreay, and I think he did something pretty terrible. But don't harass Japanese fans. It's bullshit. So I'm just gonna say that right. I'm not saying I have to say that too, I guess.
Well, take it to the company if you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's only people that
yes, email the company, which people are doing. So I mean, that's perfectly valid. Email the company and tell them that you don't like that they're booking Will Ospreay. I mean, that's
which makes me just wonder, is this going to be an Elgin situation where they just don't book Ospreay for international shows, right?
Yeah,
because they I mean, I guess they sort of de-pushed Elgin, but I mean, they definitely did not have him on the U.S. shows.
Yeah, and Elgin was not nearly as popular with the Japanese fans as Ospreay. So
I mean, people were you could hear people making noise when some of those foreigners were announced, like Ospreay and Jay White, even though they weren't supposed to.
Yeah,
but people were excited. So yeah.
Next up, Shingo Takagi, 2nd entry, 2nd consecutive. I think Shingo could make the final. I definitely think he would have a chance. I mean, he would be a great one to put in the final if someone from B Block is wanting to get, first of all, to get an awesome final, and second of all, to elevate Shingo a little bit. It could also be why he lost the Never title, although they do that a lot where, guys lose titles right before the tournament starts to make you think they have a better chance of winning maybe. And, they often, I mean, they did that with Nakamura every year, I feel like, with the Intercontinental. But, I do think there could be something to it. I wouldn't put him as a favorite to win the block. I think he has pretty much no chance to win the tournament. But, I think he could win the block. I could see it.
Probably not impossible, though. I think if he were to win the block, if he makes it the finals, his finals opponent, given looking at B block, Tanahashi.
Could be Evil, too, I think.
Well, I just don't see them Evil in the final. Or, no, I don't see Evil winning, because if you had a Takagi Evil final, I don't think Shingo's winning to do Shingo Naito at the Dome.
Well, here's what I'll say, though. This whole year is LIJ and the LIJ drama, which I know has pissed off a lot of Western fans, but it's very over with the Japanese fans. If you want to stick to that theme, Shingo Sonata could work if Sonata's winning.
Yeah?
Yeah, so... LIJ drama, LIJ feuding, or Shingo Evil would also fit that theme if Evil's winning. So, that's where I think... Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, if Shingo is going to the final, I think that's why. I think it's because he's for either a matchup with, Evil or Sonata, or if Naito's winning the tournament, which, I don't think is happening, but if that is happening, I could easily see that being the final, Shingo and Naito. Did you have anything else to add?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay. I thought you were trying to say something, that's why I paused. Minoru Suzuki, the 9th entry, the first in 2 years. You never openweight champion. First of all, I just have to say, it is awesome to have Suzuki back in, especially with the year he's having. So, very happy about that. Especially cannot wait to see him and Taichi. I mean, that angle they did at the Korakuen was just so great, with the two of them just confronting each other. I was already dying to see that match, but now... after they confront each other and just started bumping chests, I was really marking out. So I'm very into that. So I'm very, very excited to see Suzuki and Taichi. They have wrestled before, but it was a Taka Taichi Mania show from, I want to say November 2017. It was definitely late 2017. So right before Taichi went to heavyweight, only a few months beforehand. So of course Taichi had no chance to win that. So, now it's a very different situation, and it'll be the first time in New Japan, not on a Taka Taichi Mania show. So, but as far as winning the block or the tournament, I don't see it. But
no, but I think by the end of this, he'll probably even be higher up on people's lists as a possible most outstanding wrestler of the year, given what he's put out so far.
Yeah, are you excited for Suzuki Taichi like I am?
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty great. And I think, well, who do you expect to win?
Taichi.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. I can't wait. Speaking of Taichi, he's up next here. Second entry, second consecutive, the IWGP Tag Team Champion. I have to say, the angle he did, he is one of the greatest heels in Japanese wrestling, because remember how much he fucking bitched in 2018, when they didn't put him in the G1, he complained and complained and complained and said there was a letter writing campaign, all this other shit, and they finally put him in last year. And now this year, he was doing these promos leading up to the G1 entrance saying, I don't want to be in the G1 this year. I'm tag champion, I'm too tired. That was pretty much every promo he was doing for 2 weeks. It's what a great heel. He changes it up completely the moment, he's in the G1, and probably have people going you asshole. What is wrong with you? But yeah, I love Taichi. The despicable Taichi. I can't wait to see him back in the... he has so many matches in his block that I can't wait for. That Taichi Jay White match last year was a sneaky good match with both their little character work, and Taichi getting to play babyface against Jay White, which was shockingly fun. So I can't wait for that. Taichi and Shingo should be really fun. Taichi and Suzuki, obviously. Even something like a Taichi and Will Ospreay, and that should be interesting. Taichi Ibushi, they've had some good stuff already this year, and I really can't wait. And Taichi and Ishii, obviously, they had so many great matches last year, so can't wait. But yeah, he's not winning the block of the tournament, though.
No, but I think he's probably got a better chance of being alive into the last couple of nights that he has in the past.
That's true. The second to last guy in A block, Jay White. The third entry, third consecutive. Jay White, to me, I don't know if he's my biggest favorite to win, because like I said, there's about 4 or 5 guys I think I could see winning. I think I might put him a little bit higher than Okada, just because of the halfway dome. I think he would be a very good half dome challenger for Naito. It's a match they haven't done all year. They did do it last year, but they haven't done it since last year's dome. I think it could sell out a 20,000 seat dome, especially if you have other matches below. And I think it's a good year to give Jay White that accomplishment. I think I think they probably want to do that at some point, and they don't have the pressure to draw, and you'll add it could add a sense of drama to the who's the real leader of Bullet Club thing, since Evil won the New Japan Cup. I think there's a lot of reasons why it could happen. So he's one of my big favorites. I think I might put him slightly above Okada. I think he and Okada are the biggest favorites, but yeah.
Well, you can never absolutely write off Jay White, and you'd be foolish to do so, and anyone that does, yeah. But I think that Jay will get sort of redirected after the G1
to Evil.
It's some Bullet Club drama.
Yeah.
Which
I bet will be better than last time. Won't be being booked on the fly by Kenny and the Bucks. So the last entrant, Yujiro Takahashi, 7th entry, first in 5 years. First thing I have to say, I saw some incredibly stupid tweets over this. Some guy was actually in my mention saying the G1 is ruined. I'm like, buddy, it's 1 match out of 5 on half the shows, okay? Am I happy Yujiro's here? No. He's the worst wrestler in the tournament, obviously. But, it ruins the tournament? Come on, pump the brakes a little bit. What are we talking about? It's gonna, like I said, he'll probably surprise you with somebody. There'll probably be at least 1 match that's actually good. They'll probably go 6 fucking minutes some nights. I mean, just calm down. It's gonna be okay. Look at the rest of his block. It's 1 guy. It's gonna be fine. But yes, obviously he's not winning anything. I mean, what is there to say? People need to calm down.
Yeah, I'm not particularly offended by Yujiro's presence, although it's sort of interesting given, if you can bring all these foreigners back in, could have put David Finlay in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Or even Tama Tonga I would have taken. But, I don't hate Yujiro. He does his role, and, you know what? It's fun. You need, Joe Lanza says this all the time, you need pin eaters.
Yeah.
And people to do the stuff that Yujiro does. So that's fine. But I will say...
he's the Fale. I mean, he's going to be the night off for the A block.
But I think he's beaten Okada.
Okay, we'll see.
That's just my wild guess.
That'd be something. I also think, to speak to... Oh, sorry. Why do you think he's beaten Okada?
Because just of how much Okada's already been dominant over him. So,
yeah.
You could get one more a power struggle match out of it or something.
Oh, that's what the world needs. Another Yujiro Okada. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What I was going to say on Yujiro is maybe he's in here just because they want to justify the fact that he's been feuding with Okada for months, I think you could just look at it like that. But, it doesn't really bother me that much. Who fucking cares? People need to calm down. B Block, which, by the way, I'm going to defend the honor of B Block. I know Rich said it on the flagship. He said there's a certain type of fan that probably really likes this B Block lineup. I am that fan. I like Naito. I like Sonata. I like Evil. I like a lot of people in the block. I like the LIJ quote-unquote drama. There is a lot of fun story stuff here. Kenta being here. He has his history at Naito. He has history with Goto. They had a great match at the Dome. Kenta being in this tournament just is a great addition. And, people worry he's going to be doing too much bullshit, but, I'm sure there'll still be some fun stuff here. And, Kenta Evil should be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with anyone who says the A block looks better. I think it does. But I don't think the gap... I mean, there have been way worse blocks than this B block. Remember that one year, I think it was there was one year, I think 2017, where one of the blocks was absolute garbage. And this block is not garbage at all. I don't know if you disagree with me, but...
No, I think it's fine. I think it's good. Yeah. I mean, first of all, you have the champion, and then you have the biggest name in the company over the past, almost 15 years now. And
Goto's always great in the G1.
Yep.
Zach is usually really good in the G1. I mean, there's some guys here. Juice is good. I mean, Toriano's the night off.
I mean, I can understand, there are, names here that can lay an egg some nights because they just don't fire on all cylinders, like Sonata. And I like Sonata, but he can have a bad match.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Kenta, I was not a big fan of the recent Kenta Cobb matches.
I didn't see the second one. I like the first one.
God. I don't know. Even more interference.
Yeah.
Over the top interference.
I just didn't get to it. I just didn't have time.
Yeah. So that's just my sort of pause, but yeah, I think it'll still be very good.
Yeah. So let's go through the entries here. Tanahashi, first of all, the 19th entry, 19th consecutive, the winner in 2007, 2015, and 2018. So before the tournament blocks were announced, I would have said he was a favorite because they haven't done Naito Tanahashi in 3 years. As it turns out, they're doing Naito Tanahashi here on the very first night of B block. So I don't expect that Tanahashi will win now the entire tournament because I don't see them doing Naito Tanahashi. I guess it's possible because with a half full dome instead of a full one. But yeah, I don't see them doing it in September and then again in January. I think they could. We'll talk about when we get to the match. He could beat Naito to set up a title match in November, but I don't think he's winning the tournament. He could win the block, though. I mean, I've heard people say Okada Tanahashi as a final. That would make a lot of sense. Even Jay White Tanahashi would make a lot of sense as a final if Jay White is winning because, you could have Jay White avenge his very first loss in the company when, not that he hasn't avenged it other times too, but it would kind of feel like almost full circle with Jay after he lost that Intercontinental title match when he first came back. So if Jay's winning or Okada's winning, I could see Tanahashi win the block. If Ibushi is winning, after all, obviously that would work as a final too. But yeah, what do you think?
I think there's a chance, and I think it just really comes down to Geto's booking because historically in New Japan, the old veteran ex-ace, ex-top guy often would always get that one last run. Like they did it with Choshu when he won the G1 in '96.
Yeah,
and then Fujinami got an IWGP title run in '98, and then Chono winning those G1s in '02 and '05 that he really probably didn't need to. So I don't know, but Geto style is just you're 44, down the
Yeah. He did win. You could look at 2018 as his last run, maybe.
Yeah, that too, right? So the last final, Haram might have already happened, but so it'll sort of be interesting to see if Tanahashi goes 5-4, then I think we're never getting another Tanahashi in the Dome main event type thing. But maybe we will. So I think this tournament will be very telling about what Tanahashi's position will be going forward, more so than the tag title story.
Right. The second entry, Juice Robinson, fourth entry in the tournament, fourth consecutive entry. Juice is not winning anything, first of all. He's not winning the tournament or the block. I'm happy he's back. I think he's a guy that usually puts on some pretty solid performances. I am a little worried about him, I guess, because he's a guy who feeds off the crowd energy so much that it's going to be a weird, awkward transition for him, maybe, for the clap crowds, and he's going right into it here, the G1. So, I don't think he's going to win anything, but it'll be interesting to see how he performs in that environment.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Juice back. He hasn't really been doing... He wasn't even really doing much for me, in his tag team with Finlay.
I like the tag team. I don't know.
It wasn't bad, but I just didn't think Juice himself was standing out. I felt like Finlay was the guy standing out.
That's a good point.
But I'm excited here, and I think him and Naito have great chemistry. I loved their matches back in 2018.
Yeah,
it was 2018, right? I think they had
so.
A couple matches.
Yeah, I didn't like the title match that much, but then their G1 match was awesome.
So that's probably one of my most anticipated matches actually in B block.
Yeah, so that'll be really fun. Up next, Hiroki Goto, 13th consecutive entry, 13th entry total. He is, of course, one of the never openweight six-man tag champions. And he is the 2008 G1 winner when he went to All Japan and lost his title shot a month later. Really bizarre to Keiji Muto. But yeah, it's this Goto. People say he has an outside chance to win the block. I kind of think he's beyond that at this point even. 2016, even when he won that block, kind of felt like, really, Goto? And he kind of had to back into it. And now I think he's even further away from that than he was then. So I just don't see it. Watch it happen now because I said that, but he's not winning the tournament, obviously, and I don't see him winning the block either. I think he's just not
okay. But I don't think he's winning the block either. But here's the thing: if Goto were to win the block, no one would absolutely believe, regardless of who wins block A, that Goto was winning that final.
Yeah,
right? Like, let's say you wanted to do something like, we're going to do something surprising. We're going to put like Takagi or Ospreay or White. Well, yeah, they've already had their feud, White and Goto.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's no one in Block A that Goto would have any credibility in the final against.
Yeah. Toru Yano, 15th entry, 14th consecutive, provisional KOPW 2020. Remember that, folks? That's still around, apparently. He's, not winning anything, folks.
Enjoy your pinning Naito.
Maybe. He did last year.
I can see that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean,
he never gets a fucking title shot for these pins, though.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Because he pinned Naito last year. He didn't get no fucking title shot.
When he pinned Kenny, was Kenny the
Kenny champ? Kenny was heavyweight champion. He didn't get a title shot for that either. I think he pinned the last time he got a pin over somebody and got a title shot, I think he pinned Suzuki and got a never shot, maybe? That's the last one I can remember. So, yeah. What were you going to say?
Anyway, I don't hate Yano, and it's fine. Like, he'll be entertaining. No. I mean, it depends on the opponent, right? But when he hits good comedy match, it's really good.
I mean, him and Sonata are always really funny, so that should be fun. Look, people complain about the Yano debate is so stupid. It's like people who don't like him should just skip his matches. People who do like him enjoy his matches. You're never going to convince each other. I like him. I think he's actually been a little. I haven't liked him as much since COVID because it's they don't laugh as much because they're afraid to make noise, so that does kind of hurt his presentation. But I mean, the matches will go 3 minutes. Who cares? Yoshihashi, 4th entry, his first in 2 years, 1/3 the never openweight 6-man tag team champions. What can I say about this? First of all, I think he was always going to be in this. I think they saved him a spot, because he's having this little mini revival. He finally won a title for the first time in his company, like 5 years after Yoshitatsu won a title. He's not even in the company anymore. Yoshihashi finally wins a title. But yeah, I mean, I think, again, almost the same thing as Yujiro. The people complaining about this are, except even more ridiculous, because Yoshihashi's actually pretty solid. I mean, look, he's not going to blow you away, but like, will I be surprised if Yoshihashi has a 4-star match in this tournament? I will not. Could he go out there with like Goto and have a surprisingly great match? Of course he could. It's like, people don't think he could are just like, he's had great matches before. I mean, it's not likely. It's not like, on any given night, it's more likely than not that it won't be like super great, but he could do it. Would I be surprised? I would not be surprised at all. So I think he'll surprise some people maybe, especially if you only see him in the past couple of years, but I won't be surprised. And of course he's not winning anything.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I agree. Like, he's fine. I don't think he's, unless like he has an off night or one of the other opponents have an off night, which can always happen. Yeah, they'll always be solid. Like at least 3 1/4 type thing, type thing, right? Even more than a gentleman's 3.
Yeah,
he's even better than that.
Yeah, and I think like I said, I think there's always a chance for him that he'll surprise you with somebody.
He'll probably get an upset even.
Yeah. Tetsuya Naito, 11th entry, 11th consecutive, the IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, of course the 2013 and 2017 G1 winner. So let me say about Naito, I don't think he's winning. I think it would be kind of overkill, and this is coming from obviously one of his biggest fans on the planet, for him to be the double champion and win the G1. It would be a little bit much probably, but and I understand the scenario where people want him to win and name Hiromu as his opponent. I just don't think that's happening. I mean, Hiromu got pinned by El Desperado in that IWGP Junior Tag Title final. So I think they're setting up like revenge matches for him in the junior division to get through the dome. It looks like. So it just doesn't seem like he's going to be. They pulled back on him a little bit, and he's like going to do some stuff with the juniors before any Naito match or graduation. So I just don't see that. Other than that, I don't know who he would name as challenger if he won. I just don't see it happening. I mean, he could win the block. We haven't even had a champion win the block in a while, I don't think. If you want to do like a setup where he wins the block and faces like a Jay White or something in the final. I don't know. I guess he could. I guess if you're going to do that one year, this would be the year to do it with the half dome. But I think he'll probably just get eliminated on the last night or something.
I think it worked last year with Ibushi versus Okada because of the double gold dash setup.
Yeah.
So you could get away with doing that match twice.
Yeah. So, but you haven't. When's the last time the champion even made the final? It has to be a long time. I'm trying to think.
Who was 2014 Nakamura and
Okada? Yeah.
Okada?
So the champion
Was
would have been
Tanahashi the champ at that point?
No, it would have been AJ. So AJ won the belt. Tanahashi won the belt from AJ at King of Pro Wrestling. So let me see. Look through it here. 2018, obviously, it was not it. 2017, Okada was champion. 2016, Okada was champion.
2019 was last year, right? Okada was a champ, what?
Yeah, but he didn't make the final.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Okada...
Why did I think that?
Yeah. 2015, AJ was... Was AJ champion again? No, I guess Okada was champion again already. But yeah, he was in the finals. Tanahashi Nakamura. 2014, Nakamura Okada. We just said AJ was champion. 2013, Tanahashi Naito Okada was champion. 2012, Carl and Okada. Tanahashi was champion. I'm just trying to find one where the champion could have even made the final. Was 2011? No. I'm just gonna start saying yes or no. 2010.
Oh, no. Sorry, wrong. But the only one I can think of off the top of my head was 2000.
Yeah, but because he won.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe the champion hasn't gotten to the final even since Saki won in 2000. I'm just looking through to say Tanahashi Kojima in 2010. Who the fuck was champion then? Who was champion in August 2010? Was it Nakamura?
Doesn't Kojima beat Nakamura?
Kojima beats Nakamura, so maybe.
And then Tanahashi then beats him at the Dome.
Yeah. So let me see. Hold on. 20. Okay, Makabe was champion in 20. So Makabe loses the title to Kojima October 2010, and then Tanahashi, gets his win back over Kojima at the Dome. But neither of them was champion at the time. Okay, so that was the weird one. 09 was Makabe Nakamura. I'm sure that I think that was. The belt was Tanahashi and vacate. Okay, that's when Tanahashi fractures eye socket. 08 was Muto. 07, let's see. Oh, okay. So the last time a IWGP Heavyweight Champion made the final appears to have been Yuji Nagata in 2007. So Tanahashi beats Nagata in the final in 2007 after Nagata had beaten Tanahashi for the title on April 13th. And then Nagata loses the title back to Tanahashi on October 8th. So there you go. So if Naito made the final, it would be the first time in 13 years.
That's very Riki Choshu style booking too.
Yeah. So we haven't seen it in a long time. Like you said, probably because there was a different booker. Yeah. Choshu would have been 07 already? I guess so.
Yep, pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been like right after the end of the Simon Inoki era, I guess.
I think Choshu comes back 06?
Yeah, something like that. So that makes sense. And then Gato takes over, I think, 2010, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Naito, we said all that. I don't think he's winning. I don't think he's winning the block either, but, there you go. Sonata, 5th entry, 5th consecutive. Now, I heard some people write off Sonata. I hate to tell you, Sonata is a favorite. I'm not saying he's going to win it for sure, but he is way more popular in Japan than people think he is. People are nerds on this, apparently. He is a very good-looking man, and the Fujoshi in Japan love this man, and he's also not considered a bad wrestler, as far as I can tell by the Japanese smarks. So, the way he is by a lot of Western smarks. So he is not unpopular. He's very popular in Japan. He won Match of the fucking Year in Tokyo Sports last year with Okada. That Okada Sonata feud was a big deal. That was his elevation. He wrestled all these big matches with Okada. They went back on him. They pulled back on him a little bit this year, but he still, he got the match with Jay White at New Beginning. That was probably going to lead to him beating Jay White at some point. And the Evil beating him, with that low blow in the New Japan Cup, where Sonata said afterwards, he can never forgive Evil. It turned out to be like the, it turned to be kind of like the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's like a setup for Evil then joining Bullet Club. It was like kind of like a hint, I guess. that I think is a big deal. That looms over here. And Sanada's match on the last night of the G1 is against Evil. So could that be a match where the winner wins the B block? I think the chances are very high. So if you do that, if Sanada is going to beat Evil, and win the block, I think he's... If you put a gun to my head and say, who's winning this block, it doesn't necessarily mean he's winning the entire tournament because, he could lose in the final to Okada again, or to Ibushi, or to Jay White. I think Sanada's winning this block. I think that's my pick. I think it's the most likely one. He could win the entire tournament. It could be possible, but I think... I'm not. I don't think he's like the favorite to win the tournament. So I put him in like the next tier below like Okada and White. But win the block, I think he is the favorite to win this block. I mean, they on the flagship when they do that odds thing, they gave him way too long odds. I think he is a very strong favorite to win this block.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think remember also everyone thought he was winning the New Japan Cup pre-COVID too. That was a popular thing that people were expecting, and that's where he would have gotten his win over Jay White back.
Yeah,
because of how the brackets were, right?
Yeah,
because everyone was like, "Oh yeah, White's beating Okada in the first round," type thing. Too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so.
Sanada. Okay, this is the light bulb just went off my head. Sanada would have lost to Evil in the final. So then that would have been like instead of Okada, that would have been Sanada, I think.
Yep.
And then Evil would have beat Sanada with the cheating, just like he did end up doing in the new tournament. And this would have been Sanada's revenge, just like it will be now. So he'll beat him to win the block. That's what I think is happening.
Yeah, and I think really the only two possible opponents for him in the final are White or Okada.
Yeah, and then White would have gotten his win back to the G1. Now he's just probably going to beat him twice in a row, and Sanada will have to get his win back some other time. But yeah, either one of them could beat Sanada, and I don't know. I think it's very possible. So I think Sanada's the favorite to win the block.
In some ways, if it does go to Sanada versus Okada in the finals, that would be I know that Sanada's beaten him before, but I think that would be the perfect spot to actually have Sanada beat Okada.
I agree. But then they would be doing Sanada and Naito like pretty close together, but maybe they don't think that matters in a 20,000 seat dome,
If it's 20,000.
Yeah. And it would be the payoff to it would be like almost like a little payoff to the LIJ drama year. Again, and Sanada, people in the West got to get these through their heads. He's way more popular in Japan than you think he is. It's just how people like... I had a guy DM me the other day and be like, do you actually think Sanada is really popular? I'm like, yes, he's very popular. I mean, if you go on Japanese Twitter, this will become very obvious. I mean, Naito is not singling him out in these promos for no reason. I mean, he's a very popular wrestler. So, if you don't like him personally listening to this, then... I'm very sorry, but I think he's going to be pushed towards the top for the rest of his career. Look at this man, just look at his face and his body, and understand what New Japan is pushing here. I just don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, you don't like his holds or whatever. Up next, Zack Sabre Jr., fourth consecutive IWGP Tag Team Champion. I guess he could be like I don't see it. I mean, maybe like a dark horse to win the block. He's not going to win the tournament. I just don't see it. But
I know he's the tag champ, but I could see him making Naito tap and them doing like that at like a power struggle for the title or something.
Yeah, that's very possible. Kenta, the second consecutive. They actually put here the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship right to challenge holder. So someone could beat him for that and get the championship for his very red briefcase. I wonder if he'll come out with the briefcase. Or he left it back in America.
I hope not.
I guess we'll find out.
The New Japan briefcases look even worse than the WWE ones.
But yeah, so Kenta, I don't really see him as even a block winner. I just don't think it's going to happen. But there's a lot of matches here I'm excited for, especially Kenta Evil. Can't wait to see what they do with that. So.
Yeah, I guess it'll be. I'm a little nervous on Kenta because I think. If I were a betting man, and I'm not, but for the sake here, there will be a match here that people will be excited to see that he, I think, will slightly under-deliver on. That's my guess.
That's fair.
Unfortunately.
And finally, we have Evil, the fifth consecutive. He could win the block. I mean, if whoever is winning the tournament... the other option with the Evil Sanada coming on the Evil Sanada is obviously Evil just cheats to beat him again, and wins this block and then loses in the final to like Okada, get a win back from the New Japan Cup final, or Jay White and Evil could be the Bullet Club Battle final with Jay White winning. I don't think he's winning the tournament. I just don't. He's not winning the New Japan Cup and the G1 the same year. They've never done that for as long as there's been a New Japan Cup. I don't see them starting this year. And there would be like 3 Evil night. It'd be like Evil. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, you broke up. You broke up for a second, so I thought you stopped talking.
I was just gonna say, like, there wouldn't be an Evil Night. They're not gonna do like Evil Naito Part 5 or Part 4, whatever, as the Tokyo Dome main event, even for a half building. I mean, that's just not happening. So if he wins the tournament, we're gonna have someone lose the briefcase for the first time ever, I think. But that's the only way he wins the tournament. So I don't think that's going to happen. But he definitely could win the block. I mean, he's probably the second favorite after Sonata to win this block. Maybe third favorite after, because Tanahashi could win the block too, to lose in the final, I think. So somewhere, one of those 3, I think, is winning the block. Tanahashi, right. Sonata, or Evil. I think Evil's the next most likely after Sonata, but we'll see, I guess. What do you think?
I think technically, all things considered, yeah, I would go Sonata, Evil, Tanahashi, although Tanahashi and Evil would probably, like, depending on what time of the day you asked me, might switch. I think I didn't hate the Evil matches, although I didn't love them, or the Evil Naito matches. But like, depending on how they book this, if they go to solid like 12 to 15 minute like all action matches, Evil can have good stuff, right?
I think he's gonna really surprise some people.
Yeah,
I think people are gonna like even like 15 to 20 minute. Where he's in, because he's in a lot of semi-main events. He's only in like 2 main events, so he's not going to be going like super long. I think he will be like around that 15-minute mark probably. I think even if there is some bullshit, I think he'll be a lot better in that what I have to go 35 minutes to. I did like the Naito Evil matches, so I'm not. It's not like I think he was bad, but like I think he'll be more palatable to some other people, with a 15-minute match where he's running around hitting lariats.
Goto versus Evil, 15 minutes, them just hitting each other hard will be great.
Yeah, I mean, even if there is, and I think people will be more forgiving of the bullshit if it's happening at the end of a 15-minute match than they were at the end of a 35-minute match. So,
people though have a short bullshit attention span into the G1 though.
That's true. So I guess we'll see. All right, so let's go through the cards, and then we can wrap it up. So I'm going to read each card. And then Gerard and I will each pick a match we're anticipated or looking forward to. And we'll try to pick a different match each night. So we'll alternate who goes first. September 19th in Osaka is the first night for the A block. Will Ospreay versus Yujiro Takahashi. Jeff Cobb versus Taichi. Tomohiro Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki. Shingo Takagi versus Jay White. And the main event, Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi. What do you think here? What's your most anticipated match?
Takagi versus White. I want to see how that goes.
I'm interested in. I thought you were going to pick Okada Ibushi, and I would be like, yeah, Takagi White. But I really kind of want to see Suzuki Ishii again. I feel like they had some really good matches back in the day, and I think it's been a while since they've had a singles match, so that should be interesting. So neither one of us picked Okada Ibushi.
Well, I mean, but I know what they're capable of.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very surprised. This and the next night, they decided to like put what I think everybody thought would be the 2 most likely like block finals very early on, with Okada Ibushi and Naito Tanahashi. I really like that. I think it makes the final nights much less predictable than some other years. So, the second night, September 20th in Osaka, the first B block night, Juice Robinson versus Yoshihashi, Toru Yano versus Sonata, Hiroki Goto versus Kenta, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Tetsuya Naito. What are you most anticipating here, Gerard?
Okay, well, it's very cliche, but Tanahashi versus Naito, because I thought their 2017 feud was incredible, and I think it's almost sort of like underrated or not like remembered as well as sort of the other stuff that was going on in New Japan at that time.
I mean, we covered it on the 5 matches episode with me and Chris Samsa on the Patreon. We did the Tanahashi Naito G1 match, and yeah, that was a 5-star match. So I mean, these two are incredible wrestlers, and I can't wait to see them wrestle. I'm
also looking forward to seeing how Dave Meltzer describes this match, because it'll probably be like these two like people that are incapable of walking properly, or
Yeah, according to Dave, I know. I am supposed to pick something different from you, but I can't really on this one. I mean, that match just blows away the field here. Gojo Kenta, I'm excited for it too because I thought they had an awesome match at the Dome. But yeah, I mean, that Tanahashi Naito, I just cannot wait. It's possibly my most anticipated match of the entire tournament, so get it very early here. September 23rd, up next at Hokkaido, the A block, Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi, Okada versus Yujiro, Suzuki versus Taichi, Ishii versus Ospreay, and Kota Ibushi versus Jay White, the rematch of last year's final. I'll go first this time, and it's not even close for me. I cannot fucking wait for Suzuki Taichi. Again, it's probably up there with Naito Tanahashi for my most anticipated match of the entire tournament. I just cannot wait for that match. I'm so excited for it.
Are you surprised this isn't main eventing in Hokkaido?
It is kind of weird, but I guess, it's A block. Fine, I get it. The 2019 final rematch, but yeah. What are you going to pick here?
I'll go Ibushi versus White because I want to see if they, I want to see how that turns out now. Just because I wasn't super in love with their other matches, but like I wanted to. It was just kind of weird. Like I think they have this sort of kind of great chemistry, but they just never quite get there. So I want to see if they can sort of finally like reach the level that I thought they could.
Right. September 24th in Sapporo in Hokkaido, we have B block, Goto Sanada, Tanahashi Yano, Juice and Kenta, Yoshihashi and Evil. Yoshihashi's only semi-main event, I think, and Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. I'll just stick with Naito Zack. I thought they had two awesome matches in 2018. I didn't like their New Japan Cup match that much, but like the G1 match and the Power Struggle match both ruled. So I'm excited to see what they could do here in a main event.
I'm going to go with Juice Robinson versus Kenta because I think that's I'm pretty sure that's a first time match, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm sort of excited to see that. Although this is a case where I could see like Kenta kicking the crap out of Juice, but the Juice not having the crowd to call on.
Yeah,
it could get a little dicey. But like it's new and it's fresh, so like it gets my interest.
September 27th in Kobe World Hall, Taichi versus Yujiro, Jeff Cobb versus Minoru Suzuki, Ibushi and Ishii, Will Ospreay and Shingo, and Okada and Jay White. I'm definitely most excited for Ibushi and Ishii. They've had some awesome matches before. I think they'll probably have another one here.
I will go Okada versus Jay White if they keep it to 15 to 20 minutes like that first match they had at the Dome, which I thought was awesome.
September 29th, the first night at Korakuen, Yoshihashi versus Sanada, Zack versus Kenta, Tanahashi versus Juice, Yano versus Evil, and Goto versus Naito. What is your most anticipated match here?
Tanahashi versus Juice. I think they have great chemistry. Again, it was 2018, right? They had that pretty good match.
Yeah.
I think it was in the New Japan Cup.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that rematch.
Goto and Naito for me, other than there was like 1 year where they had this weirdly like only 3.5 star match, I think 2018, where like they both took it as a night off or something. So that wasn't great. But every other time these two have met, like in New Japan Cups or G1s, it's always been awesome. I think that was last year too. I think they had one, or maybe I think that's what I'm thinking of. It was like a match at Korakuen or something that I loved more than a lot of people, I think. But so I love these two, and I think they'll have an awesome match in the main event here at Korakuen. The next night at Korakuen, September 30th, Minoru Suzuki against Yujiro, Kota Ibushi against Jeff Cobb, Okada versus Taichi. Kind of surprised it's only throw from the top here. Ospreay and Jay White, and then Ishii versus Shingo. What is your pick here?
We've seen a lot of this before. So I got to go with Ishii versus Shingo.
Yeah, I mean, that match was awesome last year. I'll go with Okada Taichi. I really liked their match at New Beginning. I know not everybody did, but, especially third from the top of this, probably a shorter match this time. I think they can have some fun here. October 1st in Nagaoka. Of course, this is Sanada's hometown. Makes sense here. Juice Robinson, Toru Yano, Goto against Zack, Tanahashi against Yoshihashi, Kenta versus Evil, and Naito versus Sanada. I have to go with Naito Sanada as my most anticipated. This is the rematch from 2018, which I liked a lot. And, this time we're in Sanada's hometown. I think he'll probably win here, finally. I mean, Sanada, so I went over this a little bit in the on the Patreon when I did that review of Naito Evil. I did like a whole history of the intro LIJ matches. And Naito is a perfect 3-0 here. He has never lost an LIJ versus LIJ match in the G1. He beat Shingo last year. He beat Sonata in 2018. He beat Evil in 2016. Sonata, on the other hand, is 0-3. He lost to Evil twice in 2017 and 2019, and he also lost to Naito in 2018. So I think Sonata will finally get his first win in an LIJ versus LIJ match in his hometown, and Naito will get his first loss. But I'm excited to watch it.
I'd go with Kenta versus Evil here.
Yeah, sure. I mean that is a great. This is one of the best B-Block nights because both those matches I think are really, really interesting. So, October 5th at Takamatsu, we have Shingo Takagi versus Yujiro, Jeff Cobb against Jay White, Okada versus Suzuki, Ishii versus Taichi, and Kota versus Ospreay. For me, it's definitely Ishii Taichi. They had so many awesome matches last year. The G1 match where Taichi finally beat him was so awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. What is your pick here?
I'm going to go with Shingo versus Yujiro because it's just so ridiculous. And if he beats him in like 5 minutes, it would rule.
Yeah.
Because that's like a perfect setup for like a Shingo squash.
Yeah. October 6th in Hiroshima, B Block, Goto versus Yano, Sonata versus Zack, Juice versus Evil, Yoshihashi versus Naito. There's Yoshihashi's other semi-main, actually. I think it's that he had one before. And Tanahashi versus Kenta. What's your pick here?
Ooh,
this one's not great. This is not a great night.
No, it's not that. I actually have two choices, and I can't figure out which one I wanted. You know what? Because people might yell at me for this one, I'm going to go with Sonata versus Zack because I actually like their chemistry.
I like their chemistry too.
People don't. A lot of people don't, though.
People are wrong, but yeah, I don't like. I maybe I'm being too hard on it. There's like 3 matches here that I think are not that interesting. Goto, Yano, Juice, Evil, and Yoshi, Naito. But the other 2 matches do look good because I was going to go Tanahashi, Kenta. I thought they had a pretty awesome match last year, and that was before Kenta even turned heel and really knew what he was doing in New Japan. So it'll be interesting to see this again with Kenta as like a full heel now against Tanahashi. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, let's see. October 7th, Hiroshima. Ishii versus Yujiro, Okada versus Jeff Cobb, Ospreay versus Suzuki, Taichi versus Jay White, and Kota versus Shingo. What's your pick here?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say, Kota versus Shingo, obviously.
Yeah, first time ever match.
I almost went with Taichi versus Jay White.
That's my pick.
Just how ridiculous it could get. I don't know.
Do you remember the match last year? It was really fun.
I don't even remember it.
They worked a lot of it around Jay White, like scaring his. Oh God, no, I can't even remember her name.
Miho Abe.
Miho Abe, thank you. They worked all of it around Jay White, like scaring Miho Abe and being a creep, basically. It was really funny. I mean, even if Miho's not with him still, just the 2 of them just being like, both being pricks is really entertaining, and Taichi actually working as a babyface is kind of funny. So, I'm really into that. But obviously, Ibushi Shingo, I mean, first time ever match, that'll be really interesting.
Now, if they're loosening attendance restrictions, when are we getting Miho back is the question.
That's a good question, right? Yeah. October 8th, Okayama. Goto versus Yoshihashi. Toru Yano versus Zack. Sonata versus Kenta. Juice versus Naito. And Tanahashi versus Evil. You kind of already said which one you're looking forward to here, but so I think I know what you're going to pick. I'm going to go... There's like 2 matches here I'm into. I like the main event. I think Tanahashi and Evil. They haven't really had a match in a while, I think. So that'll be interesting. And they had some good ones way back in like 2017. Sonata Kenta, though, I don't know. That kind of stands out to me. Have they ever wrestled before? I can't even think of that. Is this a first time ever match? I wonder. Let me see. I don't remember seeing on the list, but I don't remember them having a match either. So it's very weird. Let's search Sonata.
Weren't they in the same block last year?
Maybe that's it. Yep, that was another guy that so there's another guy that Sonata hasn't wrestled since, or Kenta hasn't wrestled since his heel turn. Okay.
It's funny because last year's G1, there are blank spots, but I vividly remember a lot of matches, and then I totally forget all the other ones.
Yeah, so you were right. That's their only other meeting. But yeah, I'm gonna go Sonata Kenta. I'm excited to see what that looks like here. So, but yeah, I know your pick, so go ahead.
Oh yeah, Juice versus Naito.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one too. October 10th in Osaka, Ishii versus Jeff Cobb, Jay White versus Yujiro, Ospreay versus Taichi, Ibushi versus Suzuki, and Okada versus Shingo. What's your pick here?
Okada versus Shingo.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very easy one. Shingo's first time ever, first time ever meeting with Okada, so that should be really great. When's the last time Ibushi wrestled Minoru Suzuki, I wonder? Because that one stands out to me, too.
They have a match that was underwhelming, and we're just dreaming that one out.
Let me see. I'm gonna find it. So, let's see. The last time these two met one-on-one. It's definitely not a first-time ever match, but I can't... Okay, so it's way back in the day. This is their first meeting since G1 2013.
Oh, wow.
So they have not wrestled each other since Ibushi's first G1, when, by the way, he was still a DDT contracted talent. He had not yet signed his first dual contract. He signed his first dual contract in October, I believe. Definitely after that G1. And he was not a heavyweight yet. They did not make him a heavyweight until the 2014 G1. He still wrestled after the 2013 G1. He entered that as a junior heavyweight, and then he went back to the junior division, and he didn't... He stayed there until he lost the junior title to Kushida right before the 2014 G1. So, which I think he did then miss because of a head injury, I think a concussion or something. Yeah, he got a concussion in that match with Kushida, and then he didn't actually compete in the 2014 G1, which led to the Hama Mania when Hama replaced him. And then when he came back from that concussion in the fall, he re-signed a 1-year New Japan DDT contract, and also was officially graduated to heavyweight. And that's also when he came out the next month and gave Nakamura the German suplex and the challenge him for the Tokyo Dome, and the rest is kind of history, I guess. But yeah, so this is the first meeting for Ibushi and Suzuki since Ibushi was a DDT contracted only wrestler and a junior heavyweight. It's kind of crazy. So this is not a first time ever match, but it may as well be one. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, what a great double main event here. That's for sure. October 11th in Nagoya, Yoshihashi versus Zack Sabre Jr., Toru Yano versus Kenta, Juice Robinson versus Sanada, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Hiroki Goto, and Naito versus Evil. I'll pick first. I think I'm going to go with Naito Evil. I want to see what they do here with more of a 20-minute match instead of the long ones they had in their last two matches. I think Evil will get his win back here again, and I think I'll be interested to see how they do it. But yeah, I'm going to go with that one, I think.
I'm kind of curious about Tanahashi versus Goto. Party like it's 2009 again. And see what they can still do, actually. I think that'll be interesting.
Be a fun double main event here. October 13th in Hamamatsu. Ospreay and Jeff Cobb. Kota Ibushi and Yujiro Takahashi. Shingo and Taichi. Suzuki and Jay White. And the main event, Okada and Ishii. I'm going to go Suzuki and White. They had a match in the G1 in 2018 that I liked a lot, and I think Jay White's gotten better since then. So I'm excited to see what that one looks like.
I will go with Takagi versus Taichi.
That could be.
I
a lot
think
of
that
fun
will deliver. Of course, the main event will deliver.
Yeah,
Right.
October 14th, Yokohama. Yoshihashi versus Kenta. Juice versus Zack. Yano versus Naito. Goto versus Evil, and Tanahashi versus Sanada. What do you got here?
Tanahashi versus Sanada, because they're both Muto disciples, and they're probably just going to work over each other's legs.
They have really good matches together. I like their matches in the New Japan Cup too. So I think that's underrated for chemistry. I'll go with Goto Evil then, because they tend to have some really good matches too. They've also had a couple clunkers, I think, but the two of them just running at each other and layering each other could be good here. So finally, we're at Ryogoku, October 16th, the last night of the A block. So these matches now are not in any order because they're not going to tell you what the main event and semi-main is, because they view that as a spoiler. So they'll reveal that once we get to the nights, basically. So we have Ibushi Taichi, Jeff Cobb Yujiro, Okada Ospreay, Ishii White, and Shingo and Minoru Suzuki. What is your most anticipated match, first of all, and then we'll talk about who could decide the block here.
I'm going to go with Takagi Suzuki. I hope they sort of build on and exceed their Jingu match.
Yeah, I'll go with... I feel like we've been avoiding it this entire time, but I'll go with Okada Ospreay. I am curious to see what they do here. If not even from a match quality standpoint, like a booking standpoint. Will this be the match that decides the block? Will both guys be alive? Will Ospreay end up being the spoiler who finally gets his first win over Okada, and eliminates him? Because remember, he's never beaten Okada before, and sends somebody else to the final. probably Jay White or Ibushi maybe. But yeah, that'll be interesting. The B block final is Tanahashi versus Zack, Juice versus Godo, Yano versus Yoshihashi, Naito versus Kenta, and Sonata versus Evil. I'm most anticipated for Sonata Evil. I do think they can have a much better match than their New Japan Cup match. The showdown of former tag team partners here. I do think it will be the match that decides the block. I think probably like Naito will still be alive, and then Kenta will spoil him. To pay him back for that new beginning match. Maybe Tanahashi will still be alive and Zack will spoil him, or vice versa. Maybe Zack will still be alive and Tanahashi will spoil him and get some revenge for the tag title feud. I don't think Yano or Yoshi or Juice or Goto will be alive. But yeah, I think Sonata Evil should be really interesting, so I'm going to pick that as my most anticipated.
Probably Naito versus Kenta, but I just want to put a caveat on Juice versus Goto. Was it last year or the year before? Juice finally gets his first singles win over Goto, and it was just sort of like a gentleman's three, only 10-minute match.
Yeah.
Because I always thought they had great matches, and then it was just like, whoop, you get your win. So I want to see these guys have like an actual 15, 20-minute banger, but I don't know if we're going to get that on the final night of the G1.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, so that was our G1 preview. We went very thorough there. I think, hopefully you're all set now. And we'll be back on next week's show with the first nights of the G1 on the free feed. So, all right, so let's get into the Champion Carnival. The first two nights kicked off this past weekend on Saturday the 12th and Sunday the 13th. I think we will, like we said way back before we started this episode, disagree on some of these matches because I was very underwhelmed. But I think you were more into some of them. On the first night...
Well, I think I could also say the word underwhelmed, but I think I was like, this is a 5 or a 6, and you were like, this is a 2.
Yeah.
So that's really what it was. I'm not going to be like, these were amazing, or anything like that. But
so the first night was in Nagoya at the International Conference Hall before a announced crowd of 482. So the 4 tag team matches, you watched them all?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through them real quickly. I didn't watch any of them, so you can tell me what they were like. The first... Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to give this the match times. So the first one was Akira Francesco and Tajiri defeating Atsuki Aoyagi, Yuma's brother, of course, and Koji Iwamoto in 8:34.
It was a good, solid 8-minute match. Akira looked awesome, and he picked up another win, which I think you're probably building toward an Iwamoto Akira Junior title match.
The second match was Ishikiri and Ryuji Sai defeating Seigo Tachibana and Yusuke Okada in 7:01. Tachibana got hurt here, right?
Yeah, he fractured a bone in his left foot.
Yeah, it sucks. The first of 2 injuries on this show. So, the next one was a 6-man tag team match. Purple Haze, Zeus Udamaro, and Izanagi defeating Black Mensa Ray, Ryuki Honda, and Takao Omori in 4:11.
This was just to get over Zeus's new submission, which is the Misawa front face lock. Although he actually applies it a lot more convincingly than Misawa ever did, to be honest.
It just looked like a chin lock to me. Because the same thing he beat one on the second night, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on because I didn't watch this, I guess. So, yeah, it just looked like a chin lock. I don't know. But, I don't know. Maybe it looked better here than it did on the second night.
Well, yeah, because he was just like pulling back on like a Honda who's basically a young boy and brutalizing him. Which is funny because Honda actually has like 2 months more experience than Hokuto Omori, but they're acting like he's like a fresh rookie.
I see. The next match, Hokuto Omori and Shotaro Ashino from Enfants Terribles defeating Evolution, Dan Tamura, and Hikaru Sato in 6:03.
Probably the best match of the undercard. I mean, it's Ashino doing his thing, and both Sato and Tamura are pretty good. So yeah, it's just get over Ashino.
So we should probably mention the format before I get into the Champion Carnival matches here. So there's 5 guys in each block. Block A is Suwama, Zeus, Jake Lee, Kuma Arashi, and Jiro Ikemen Kurishio. Block B is Kento Miyahara, Shuji Ishikawa, Yuma Aoyagi, Shotaro Ashino, and Yoshitatsu. As you can see, there are 5 guys in each block, so it's an odd number. So somebody gets a day off each week, or each show, I mean. So it's almost like a bye, I guess. This night, it was Zeus and Ashino, who we mentioned in tags. They did not have tournament matches, so there you go. The first tournament match of the night was Shuji Ishikawa defeating Yuma Aoyagi in the B block in 801. I thought this was, I don't know, it was okay. I mean, I had a couple problems with this. First of all, Yuma, there was a lot of legwork on these two shows, and a lot of it didn't go anywhere. Like this one, like we got a little bit of legwork from Yuma, didn't really go anywhere at all. Shuji did a nice job selling it, but like it just really didn't, factor into anything in the match. Yuma had these like really weirdly like weak elbow strikes that really annoyed me throughout this match. There was like, I don't know, them like Yuma like kept working on the leg, and then Shuji like, came back with just like this like all these running knees, which is a little goofy after all the leg work. And then Yuma like tries his backslide to escape a crucifix bomb. Nice little spot. But then Shuji just hits like a death press out of nowhere for the pin. I thought it was a very goofy little weird finish. Like had nothing to do with the rest of the match. I don't know. Just didn't like it very much for an 8-minute match. The leg work went nowhere. Yuma's elbows were terrible. I went 2.5. I mean, it was fine.
This was kind of sloppy. Legwork isn't going to go anywhere in an 8-minute match. Although, if it was building to something different, I thought it would have been good. But I did like the finish because of the way he sort of did the Thez press, or it's also listed as the air scissors drop. This just looked like he was like using all of his weight to just hold down the smaller guy, which is sort of cool. So yeah, but I would still go around where you went, like 2.5.
The next match, Jake Lee defeated Jiro in 8:36. This was okay. I liked Jiro's like heel act. Like he was basically kind of like, again, this is another leg match, which is a little weird to do them back to back a little bit. But like there's the funny bit where Jiro comes out and he keeps trying to head out into the people for his normal entrance, but like keeps getting cut off by the referees and the young boys because of COVID. That was really funny. And Jake Lee, like, I don't know, he like got really infuriated at him for hitting him in the face with his jacket. The point wanted to be like, buddy, it's gonna be okay. It's just a jacket. Because he like really got so angry, and he like flipped out and like just brutalized him at ringside. But then that led to him accidentally kicking the railing in his jacket-based rage. It was just very, very weird. And then Jiro just kind of pointed and laughed at him, which is funny. And he was just great here, this little prick heel. He was like daring him to hit him, and then just kind of kicked him right in the leg. He stretched his leg out in the railing, like brought up the railing and slammed it as well, which that was kind of unique and kind of cool. And I like Jake selling, but like the problem was, again, like Jake, Jake just started running across the ring like way too easily. He started throwing kicks with the bad leg. Jiro will catch him and then dragon screw him, and then Jake will come back with Enziguri using the bad leg. So, that stuff annoys me. But, at the end of the day, Jake comes back, hits the backdrop and wins. Like, again, he ran across it like a big boot right before that way too easily. And a running knee strike too. So the same kind of thing where like, I think that happened in a lot of these matches with the leg work where like, it just felt like guys blew it off. But I don't know. I liked Jiro's heel act enough, and I liked Jake's offense other than blowing off the leg work enough to go 3 stars. But that's about as high as I can go when the leg work just kind of meant nothing.
I'd go about 3.25. I also thought I liked the way that Jake carried himself in this. Yeah, I thought Jiro was a good heel, and I also thought it did what it needed to do, sort of give like Jake a emphatic win off the bat, and I think it just further confirms he's at least going to the finals here.
Yeah. Semi-main event, Suwama beats Kuma Arashi in only 3:54. I like this quite a bit for a 4-minute match. This was a good match. I would say Kuma, jumped him right at the bell. They're pounding on him and like kept putting him down with shoulder blocks. Suwama came back with this nice leaping shoulder block. He went for the last ride very quickly. Arashi like back body dropped his way out of it. I get this pretty nice standing crossbody, really high jumping senton. Got this cool like lariat battle, and then he hits a backdrop suplex, another backdrop, and that's it. I thought this was like super enjoyable power battle while it lasted. So I went 3.25, which might be really high for such a short match. But I did like this. I mean, this was my match of the night. So 4 minutes.
I could go like 2.75. It was really a lot of fun while it lasted. I think that giving Suwama a big quick win off the bat because I think, well, we'll talk about what happened on today's show, but I think he's also going to be sort of doing the job again in this tournament. So give him a sort of a big, quick, powerful win off the bat. But yeah, I mean, could have lasted a couple more minutes.
The main event, Yoshitatsu defeating Kento Miyahara in 21:52. Okay. I mean, maybe saying 2 out of 10 was too strong for what I actually thought of the matches, but just like for an opening night of the Champion Carnival, I just thought this was a very weak set of 4 matches. You have 3 matches that, 8 minutes, 8.5, under 4. The main event finally goes 22 minutes, but like I thought this was a very underwhelming match for a couple different reasons. It was our 3rd leg match of the fucking night, which that just should not happen. Like, talk backstage and don't do 3 leg matches out of 4. Like, it was just really ridiculous. So Yoshitatsu, Kento goes for a knee attack and missed the post, and Yoshitatsu just, like, fucking gets a knee crusher on the railing. I guess they didn't totally go into the leg stop after that, so maybe it's not that big a deal, but, like, I don't know. It was very much more like, I guess, like a being threatened with a 3rd leg match of the night than actually getting one. But yeah, I mean, it was like really kind of annoying. But yeah, I don't know. Like after that, like Yoshitatsu's boot scrapes looked really kind of bad. There just was nothing early on that I thought was that interesting until Kento finally hit this like nice step up axe kick when he jumped off the apron. That was the best part of the match up to that point. We did get like a like this brutal looking German suplex, like where he dropped Yoshi right on his head, and followed up with the blackout knee for a 2 count. They did like one of my least favorite spots in wrestling right now, where Yoshi hits like this face buster and he goes into the Koji clutch, and Kento starts selling that he's out, but Yoshi releases the hold like a fucking idiot and tries to cover and gets 2. Like, Wrestler A releasing their own hold while Wrestler B is going out to try and cover instead of just waiting for the ref to stop it. It's my least favorite spot in all of wrestling right now. Just wait for the ref to stop the fucking match. Why are you, like, releasing him from your hold while he's going unconscious to try to get a pinfall? Just try to get a stoppage. Like, what are you doing? And then Kento, making it even stupider, Kento instantly revives, despite the fact that he was just selling that he was unconscious. Hits, like, this standing blackout knee, another second one to hit Yoshi for a 2 count. The knees in this match were starting to become like Kenny Omega-esque, like just repeatedly over and over again for no, like at the height of Kenny's like V trigger spam. He followed it up with like a delayed German that looked kind of nice around the 20-minute call. And then there was like a botch right before the finish. Like I don't know what happened. There was like the spot where like Yoshi got Kento. So Kento comes back with like 2 blackout knees. Yoshi no-sells them, which is I don't know about that. And then and especially that was like knee number 7 or 8 or something in the entire match. And then like Yoshi gets Kento in a rear waist lock, and they both just kind of fucking fell down. Like it just looked very stupid, and like I don't know what they were even going for. And then Yoshi just gets Kento in an ankle lock, and Kento taps. I was like, what? Like he hasn't even touched the leg in like 15 minutes, and the finish is just like Yoshi getting him in a rear waist lock. They both fall down for no reason. Yoshi gets him in the ace of the fucking company in an ankle lock, and Kento just taps. I thought that was like one of the dumbest finishes I've seen in a long time. Yoshi just like I said, eating knee to the face, number 6 and 7, no selling them both, and just like I don't, just very wacky. I gave it like 3 stars. That might even be generous. There was some good action, but yeah, I don't know. This was a very disappointing main event to me. I've liked plenty of Yoshi matches in All Japan, but I didn't like this.
I'd go 3 1/4. I actually thought it was fairly solid up until the end, which I thought just wasn't a good build to a submission and a little sloppiness. But I liked the rest of the work in the match, and it actually didn't like when I was watching this live. And it just didn't feel like it was... I got up early to watch it live. It just didn't feel like a 21-minute match. It actually went by pretty fast. And I was like, wait, what? It's over? And yeah, the ending was flat. And I thought hurt it. But I don't think it was a true, like, super disaster.
That's fair, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I just... maybe disaster is definitely, too a little... too strong, maybe, but
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very underwhelming compared to like last year's
yeah.
already, and
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't. Maybe 210 is too weak. Maybe like 310, 3 out of 10. But I don't know. It's just I wasn't feeling it for sure. Night 2. First of all, Yoshitatsu apparently hurt his back on that first night, so he already had to miss his second night. We'll see what that means going forward. But that meant that Shuji Ishikawa got another win by forfeit to move to 2-0 and 4 points, and Yoshi falls to 1-1. But the people who were not supposed to wrestle already were in Champion Carnival matches were Jake Lee and Kento in each block, A and B. So I assume you watched the whole show again?
Yeah.
So
and also with Yoshitatsu, if he does have to bow out, it's a very likely he was going to lose all of the rest of his match.
That's very true. Yeah.
So it might not, and like, because all he needs was one big win, right?
Yeah.
So he got it. So I don't think that will be a disaster. This was a cursed show. There's an issue with the ring. Yoshitatsu was out. Tachibana was out, and Ikuto Hidaka missed the show because he had been in contact with someone with COVID. So they took him off the show as a precaution. So just the vibes of this show just weren't the greatest at times.
Yeah. So I only watched one of the tag matches. I'll say which one when I get to it, I guess. But let's go through them again. Jin, Fuminori Abe, and Jake Lee defeating Bayanaki and Yusuke Okada in 504. What was this like?
This was actually a solid little match. I like Aki. I want to see more of him in All Japan. He already had a nice little match against Akira Francesco last month. The shocking thing here is Lee pins Okada instead of Aki. And I don't know what to say about the way they're treating Yusuke Okada. It's just, I don't know. Look, Striga on the Eastern Lariat said, like, at this point, he doesn't understand why they're treating Okada this way other than they're punishing him. And I'm beginning to believe that. Like, you're having Okada lose to Jake Lee when you have the outsider, like, undercard guy right there with him. That's brought in at the last minute. Yeah. It's just mind-boggling for a guy that has so much potential.
Match 2, Takao Omori and Tamura defeating Ryuki Honda and Shuji Ishikawa at 8:51.
This was fun. Omori and Tamura of the Axe Bombers reunite. Ishikawa did his thing, looked fine. I thought Honda showed some good fire here, and that was sort of the idea. Because originally they're supposed to have like a dark match of Omori versus Honda as sort of like initiation thing. So this sort of then, of course, came down to Omori beating up the young boy and getting the win.
Match number 3, Purple Haze, Izanagi and Shigehiro Irie defeating Dan Tamura and Hikaru Sato in 5:57.
I thought this was also a lot of fun. Purple Haze have redeemed themselves, I think, finally, because a lot of people were not into them earlier in the year, but some good performances from Izanagi and Zeus have, I think, begun to change a lot of people's minds. This was a lot of fun, and Irie just won with the Beast Bomber and Tamura in a solid 6-minute match.
Match number 4, this is the one I did see, Koji Doi and Yusuke Kodama of Enfants Terribles defeating Akira Francesco and Kento Miyahara in 8:22. This was alright. I thought Doi looked good here, especially his choke takedown thing on Akira just looked pretty damn good. But the finish, almost fucking killed it for me. It was like fucking WWE. Like, Akira tripped, or Kodama tripped Akira from outside the ring, and Akira pointed at him like, hey, you tripped my leg. Hey. For like a fucking hour, it felt like. I was like, what the hell are you doing? And then Doi took advantage and hit a nice layup for the pin, but like, I don't want to see that fucking shit in All Japan. I mean, at least it's not interference because they were in the match, but like, you're like, why are you like just pointing at this guy and screaming at him for what like felt like hours? It's just awful. I don't know. I'm gonna dock a quarter star for the finish, so I went 2 3/4.
I'd go 3 even. The finish didn't really bother me that much, and I thought it was fun otherwise, and I was happy to see Kento and Doi in there. So, and they're clearly from this show, it's like the dastardly heels are being turned into Enfants Terribles instead of Purple Haze, given what would also happen later in the show.
Yeah. The next match, 6-man tag team match, Atsuki Oyagi, Koji Iwamura, and Tajiri defeating Blackman Saray, Fuminori Abe, and Hokuto Omori in 9:52.
So you got Abe doing double duty here because he took Hidaka's spot. This got actually enough time to turn into a solid little thing. I thought Atsuki Aoyagi looked really good here. He's turning himself into a bit of a high flyer. He's got a really beautiful moonsault. And so it was just a solid, good little junior match. And Iwamoto got the win on Menso Ray, I guess, to sort of set himself up as a dominant champion.
Up next, Zeus defeating Kuma Arashi in his Championship Carnival, his first match of the year in the Block A. Zeus gets his first win. This won 8:34. This I didn't like this at all. First of all, the match started, very slow. These two powerhouses filling each other out. That's fine. Nice little test of strength. But then this bow and arrow hold from Zeus that went on fucking forever. Kuma's song was pretty good, but there's only so much you could do with one guy holds another guy's wrists and the guy pretends it hurts. I mean, just went on so fucking long before Kuma finally made the ropes. Zeus did hit some nice chops on him as we got the 5-minute call. And Kuma came back with this nice little running crossbody. I mean, he jumped so high he almost missed him. He almost overshot him, but it looked cool. A nice standing senton. Zeus went to what I thought was a rest hold, another rest hold, a simple chin lock, but that's apparently his new submission finisher, which I had no idea until he told me or until the guy tapped out. What a lame-ass finish. I don't know. I mean, that's up there with that new Okada fucking Cobra Clutch. But I don't know. I went 2 1/4, which might be generous. I mean, there was some stuff that was all right, but I thought this was below average. So much resting.
Yeah, the structure. Yeah, I agree with you on this. The structure was all wrong. They should have just been gone just right to the shoulder blocks, trying to knock each other down. I mean, it's only an 8-minute match, right? So yeah, I just think the structure was all off, especially, and the finish wasn't really built too well. I mean, I thought there was some good stuff when they were actually doing moves to each other, but just the structure totally threw me off. And yeah, I would go around 2 1/4, 2.5 on this.
The next match was Shotaro Ashino losing to Yuma Aoyagi by referee's decision in 10:21. I saw people freaking out about this. Yuma got a nice little flying forearm to start. Ashino just kind of shoved him on the apron, though. A very awkward and weird transition. It just was here, get out of here. Basically, I was what the fuck? He snapped his leg over the bottom rope because what we needed in this fucking first 2 days of this tournament was another fucking leg match. I mean, I had enough of those yet. Ashino got him a nice stretch muffler. Yuma made the ropes pretty quickly. And then Yuma, his selling of the leg, again, I feel like a nerd complaining about this stuff all the time, but it was so over the top and corny. He was doing that really annoying modern wrestling thing where he can throw a perfect standing drop kick out of the fucking textbook of wrestling moves, but then as soon as he hits the ground, he falls to the mat clutching his leg like he just got shot by a sniper in the fucking rafters. It's that's not how this is supposed to work. Just sell the move or sell the fucking limb while you're doing the move. Don't do the move at all if it's really involves your leg that you're supposed to be selling. And if you're going to do the move and just blow it off, you sure as fuck shouldn't be landing on the ground like you've just been shot. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And then even worse, he does this wacky arm breaker off the second rope using the bad leg, lands right on it, and again rolls around like he just got shot. It's buddy, just don't do the move. Just, leave that move out of this match if you're going to fucking sell the leg. It just, I hated it. Yuma, after that, they did some nice stuff. The Germans were good. They traded German suplexes. Ashino no-sold it and gave him one of his own, a really high one. That was good. Ashino then went right back to the ankle lock after Yuma got out of it. And, I didn't love Yuma selling with all the open mouth and please, no, I am in pain type thing. But then he gets out of it and hits another German suplex for a 2 count. All the German suplexes look good. And they transitioned right into the front guillotine just so we get the 10-minute call. And the referee stopped it to give him the win. There was some good action in there. So I will go 2.5 stars, I guess. I mean, but I hated Yuma's leg selling. And it didn't even play into the finish at all. I don't know why they bothered. For a 10-minute match, they just should have gone out there and suplexed the hell out of each other, because the few Germans they did were definitely the strongest part of the match, and we've had enough fucking legwork matches in this tournament already. So I just didn't get why they did this. I didn't think Yuma's leg selling was good at all. 2.5 stars.
I think this will have the biggest disagreement. I went 3.5 stars on this. The leg selling didn't really bother me. I liked Yuma's escapes from those ankle lock submissions. Although I think the problem is my brain has sort of been fried by the first 2 days of booking. I thought, like, we're only 8 minutes in, and Ashino's ankle lock could finish him. So I was like, okay, well, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? Now, I'm not sure if that's exactly the best way of sort of conditioning your fan base, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I thought the action was great. The suplexes were a highlight. And I also thought I really liked the post-match angle too.
You want to describe that? I guess I don't even remember.
So,
they attacked him.
Yeah. So Ashino. Okay. So Ashino did sell the end game lock well at first, but I did think he got up a little too quickly from it, because the first couple minutes he looked like he was dead. So anyway, they're all angry at what Yuma has done, so they just start beating him up. Like, they're all out there, Doi and Kodama, Arashi. And so then eventually Kento runs out and yells at them on the mic and that kind of thing, and they have a stare down because the next show is Kento versus Ashino, which is probably the most eagerly awaited match in the tournament, I think, for myself and probably most people. I don't think that's a stretch to say.
First time of a match, right?
Yeah. So that's sort of like what that was building to. So I thought it did well, but I also have thoughts on the way that match should go, or I'll get very angry. But well, we'll talk about the next match, but for me, this is the match of the tournament so far.
Okay, so for me, the match of the tournament so far is the next match. So Jiro Kuroshio defeats Suwama in 14 minutes, so they're both 1-1 now. So there was a slow start to the match. Suwama was like whipping him around ringside, and then he kind of starts tearing at his jacket in the ring before very slowly dropping an elbow on him. Probably not the show needed at this point, a slow start to this, but did pick up after that. Suwama like very slowly turned him over into a Boston Crab. Jiro did some really good selling as he's struggling to get out of this Boston Crab and eventually make the ropes. Always probably been his best part of his whole game. And Suwama was playing full out big bully here. Not even let go of the rope after the rope break. He went right back to try to pull the jacket off of him as we get the 5-minute call. A complete reversal for Jiro, who is working, as we said, the total heel on the first night. But he's good at both, I guess. Suwama, he kind of ended up on the floor kind of awkwardly, but it let Jiro hit a really nice acai moonsault. And then Suwama came back with this nice capture suplex just after the 10-minute call, and then a lariat for a 2 count, a nice backchop suplex for another near fall. Jiro started going after Suwama's arm. Finally, something other than a fucking leg in this tournament in the first 2 days. And, he got a cross arm breaker, but Suwama was able to make it over the ropes to force the break. And I thought Suwama's always been an underrated seller. He did a good job selling the arm there. Jiro went for a top rope moonsault, but Suwama got his knees up. Hit a very slow spinning lariat. I don't know what was up with that spinning lariat. It looked like he was in slow motion. But he then hit a big overhead German, just tossed him, so that was good. He went for the last ride, but Jiro rolls through it to a sunset flip with a surprise pin. Great finish. So surprising that the crowd even forgot they were not supposed to make noise, which was funny. But yeah, I really liked the finish. I enjoyed the match in general. I don't think it was awesome or anything, because it was slow at times and there were some awkward spots, but I would still go 3.5. Kind of sad the match of the tournament so far is in the first 2 nights is 3.5. But yeah, this was definitely my match of the tournament. So for the first 2 nights.
So I went 3.25. So it's my second number 2 match of the tournament. Yeah, my only complaint was a little too slow, but I thought Jiro's offense was actually done pretty credibly against Suwama, and I never thought it was goofy. Well, except for the grabbing the jacket slaps, but I mean, that's what you get with Jiro. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I was in the VOW Discord. People did not seem to like it as much as we did, even.
Okay.
So, which I thought was interesting. But I thought it was great. I thought the work was solid, logical, and the finish made sense. Yeah. Other than that, a little slow at the start, and the usual Jiro isms that will sort of, put a ceiling on the match, but still a good match. And I think this is Jiro's big win of the tournament.
There are people in the WWE Discord trying to argue that Kenny Page FTR match was good last weekend. So I don't know what they want, what they like anymore. That match sucked. But yeah, this was good. I enjoyed this quite a bit. So 3.5. But yeah, I look, the cards for these first two nights were not the greatest. So I'm not really surprised that they were pretty underwhelming here. I just don't know why All Japan decided to start their tournament off with like these two shows in Nagoya and especially in Kawasaki. Not exactly a hotbed. I mean, it is close to Tokyo, as Jojo Remy from Voice of Wrestling pointed out in the Slack. But like, it's not exactly a hotbed of wrestling, and like, or especially nowadays. It used to be more one back in the day. But like, yeah, it's just very odd choice to start the tournament outside of Tokyo, with like very underwhelming cards. Like, wouldn't you rather start your tournament with like hot shows? I don't know. Maybe they feel like now they can just do. I mean, the rest of the tournament is just in Tokyo, I think. So, maybe they just figure. Oh no, 2 shows in Tokyo. Odawara, yeah.
That's in Kanagawa, is it not?
Yeah, so pretty close again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe they just figure like they'll build a momentum with the Korkins, and then. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, I mean, the next Korkin look could be good, even if Yoshitatsu is out.
So let me give the standings, and then we'll talk about the next Korkin. So the standings right now, A block, we have 3 guys at 1-1, Suwama, Jiro, and 2 guys at 1-1, Suwama and Jiro at 2 points. 2 guys at 1-0 because they've only done 1 match so far, Zeus and Jake Lee, also 2 points, and Porku Marashi, the only guy at 0-2 with 0 points. Block B, we have Shuji Ishikawa at 2-0 with 4 points. We have 2 guys at 1-1, Yuma and Yoshitatsu, both at 2 points. And who knows what Yoshitatsu's stats will be with his back injury. And then we have 2 guys who only wrestled 1 match and both lost the only match. So Kento and Ashido both 0-1 with 0 points. So we'll make it even more interesting. They're facing each other next. So the next show, September 15th at Korakuen. Like I said, we'll be talking about this on the Omakase Patreon. So on Tuesday, if you want to hear me give my thoughts on these matches, patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. We have Suwama versus Jake Lee, Zeus versus Jiro, Kento Miyahara versus Shotaro Ashino, and Yuma Aoyagi versus Yoshitatsu if that match is able to happen. Definitely a much better lineup than we saw on either of these first 2 shows. I mean, Suwama and Jake Lee could be really good. Kento versus Ashino, I'll be shocked if it isn't really good. And Zeus and Jiro probably has outside shot, as does Yuma and Yoshitatsu if it happens. So
I think Zeus and Jiro has a better chance than Yuma and Yoshitatsu, actually.
Yeah, that's a good
point. Just because if Zeus is just a big prick and Jiro sells it well, it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So there we go. So that hopefully we get the Champion Carnival started in a bigger way here.
But for the love of God, if Kento pins Ashino, fuck it. Like, just blown it with him. I'm sorry. It's got to be a draw. I would be perfectly acceptable with a draw because that keeps the feud going.
Yeah.
Or Ashino's got to win.
There you go.
But you cannot have Kento beat Ashino.
All right.
Well, not only that, I mean, 2 losses in a row is stupid. But, I mean, this is a huge rivalry. You just can't do that right now.
They're gonna do it.
I know
I'm calling it right now.
But look, if Kento was just going over Ashino, would they have done that angle? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Right? I'm pretty confident we're getting a draw or Ashino winning, which is the right thing.
Yeah.
And Kento losing streak story is fine because they haven't really done that yet. So
I agree.
I think that could be a decent story.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. The first 2 Champion Carnival nights. Like I said, night 3. Tune into the Patreon and you'll get all the night 3 action. So now, to wrap up the show, let's do a quick little preview of the N-1. I'm not going to go into super detail, especially after the G1 preview took forever, but we are going to cover this on the Patreon and the free feed, so I definitely want to talk a little bit about the participants and who we think are going to win. So, Block A has the current GHC Heavyweight Champion, Go Shiozaki, the man he beat for the title, Kaito Kiyomiya, Masaki Mochizuki from Dragon Gate, who could obviously have some great matches in this block. Masa Kitamiya, Kazushi Sakuraba, who again could have 1 or 2 great matches here, even at his age. Ebanavu Soya. I'm pretty. This block looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited.
Well, I just watched the August 30th Noah show last night with that Access versus Sugiura and Sakuraba. Now that match went half an hour. so that might be part of it. But Sakuraba did not look great in that match,
Mm.
so they got to keep him like 10 minutes or less, I think.
Okay.
In a lot of these matches, but someone like Makazuki could probably pull out something pretty good out of him.
I'm really excited about that match. I'm just very interested in it. Block B, we have Kano, Katsuhiko Nakajima, who of course just joined Kano's unit, so that should be interesting when they face each other. Naomichi Marufuji, Maybach Taniguchi, or Shuhei Taniguchi now. Sorry for calling you Maybach, buddy. Takashi Sugera and Yoshiki Inamura. There's some good stuff in this block. There's some stuff I'm excited to see. Marufuji, I'm kind of fucking done with him after that Go match was just... that is one of the most perplexing matches of the year. Like, someone pointed out today, I think it was Thomas Fitzbeck in the Slack, that's like number 26 or something in Cage match of the year list. And it's like, how the fuck that match made the top 1,000? I couldn't tell you. Because that match fucking sucked. And I don't think I've felt more disconnected from other people's opinions on a match in like since like the peak of like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the last time I hated a match so much that everybody else loved, like that Kenny Okada G1 match maybe.
What about
like,
the Bucks versus Hangman and Ed?
I gave that like 3 1/4. I didn't hate that as much as I hated like Go and Marufuji. I think I gave like 1 3/4. I thought that match fucking sucked. Like I thought they both sleptwalked through it. I thought they both showed no fire or passion. The half hour felt like 30 years instead of 30 minutes. I thought that match was awful. So, I mean, I didn't even think that Kenny Page... 3 1/4 means I didn't think it was awful. Obviously didn't see it at like a match of the year level like people did. But, the Go Marufuji match, I don't know what people watched. It's one of those matches where, like, I flat out don't know what people watched with that one. But anyway. So, yeah, maybe Marufuji can surprise me. But, like, that match sucked. As far as the block, though, there are some matches I'm excited for here. Kano Nakajima again. They had an awesome match on, early a couple months ago.
Kind of soon to be going back to Kano Nakajima after the turn, if you ask me.
Yeah. Kano and Sugera, that could be really good again. Yeah, Nakajima, Sugera. There's some good stuff here.
So I'm going to go and be a bit of a hipster here and say that Taniguchi has been having a low-key, pretty fun year.
He's good.
I've really enjoyed his stuff since the Fujita match at Sumo Hall last November.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought I didn't really see a lot of people talk about it, but he had a really fun match against Soya on the Congo Produce show that I thought was a great, like, hard-hitting thing. So I would like to see him against Inamura and Sugiura especially.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so who do you think is... I guess before I go over the card for the first show, who do you think is winning Block A and Block B, and who do you think is winning the whole tournament?
Who should, or who do I think?
Either if you want to give both.
I think
Nakajima's winning, but...
I think Kiyomiya is probably going to win A block and Nakajima B block.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't think they should be building to Go versus Nakajima this soon.
They are, though.
Yeah. I'm not even sure they should be... Look, if there was no COVID, I'm not even sure on this timeline it would be the most appropriate either, right?
Yeah.
Because you break them up at the end of August, and then bam, already in November, you're blowing it off.
I don't think it'll be a blow off, though. I think it'll be like match one.
Yeah. I don't know. But you don't have your Sumo Hall, but this is going to be at Yokohama Budokan, I think, whatever people are expecting. I don't know. Just not the way I would do it under these circumstances. But I think that's where they're going.
I agree. Okay, so there we go. The first card, which again, if you want to hear me talk about this, it'll be on the Omakase Patreon. So that'll be on Friday, the first night from Nagoya on Friday, September 18th. The opener is a 6-man tag, Okada, Yone, and Taniguchi against Inoue, Masashi Aoyagi, and Akitashi Saito. Whatever. Naomichi Marufuji and Kotoge against Nosawa, out of the question, and Kaz Hayashi.
Is it like Noah versus Great?
I guess. And then the 4 N-1 victory matches on this show. We start out in the B block with Sugera versus Inamura. That could be pretty good. It looks, good little match.
Oh, for sure.
Second B block match. Okay, maybe these aren't in the order of the card, because I can't believe that these this won't be the main event, or at least, I don't know. I guess maybe it is. But Kano and Nakajima, that's going to be awesome. I better not be third from the top. And then Kaito Kiyomiya against Masaki Mochizuki. That could also be awesome in the A block. And then, according to this, maybe the main event, Go Shiozaki against Manabu Soya. A little bit of a weird pick over if it is the main event over
that
the last
two. That could be fun, though.
But it could be
like lariat each other really hard. I think it's a pretty solid first night.
Yeah, this is definitely a solid first night. So I'm all four of those matches sound pretty appealing.
Now my thing is are they going to work Keno versus? I don't know if they're going to Keno and Nakajima are going to work like they worked in their national title match, which was great.
Yeah.
So are they just going to go around, mat wrestle, do some kicks and counter, and they're going to do a 30-minute draw? I could see that happening too, right?
Yeah. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But there you go. That'll be Friday again on the Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Next week on the free feed, we'll do the first 2 nights of the G1 plus the second night of the N-1 victory from Sunday. So that'll be next Sunday, the 20th. So we'll do Saturday the 19th G1, Sunday the 20th G1, and Sunday the 20th N-1 victory, as long as we're able to watch it in time, because it does say that weird fixed camera, live broadcast delayed or something. So we'll see. But if not, then it'll just be the first 2 nights of the G1, obviously. So, okay, folks. Gerard, you got any plugs for me here?
Yeah, Paul Walsh and I are covering all of the Champion Carnival shows, and we're going to give our opinions, and so look out for that. And if Kento does beat Ashino on Tuesday or Wednesday on the next show, read my review to see me bury the promotion.
And folks, like I said, the patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. I'm probably drilling into your heads at this point, but we're going to have so much coverage. Starting on Tuesday with Champion Carnival Night 3, exclusive to the Patreon. Friday with the first night of the N1. And then the following week we'll be starting exclusive G1 coverage only on the Patreon. So great time to jump in here. Only $5 to get all of our exclusive coverage. If you want the full picture, you can't get everything on the free feed. You got to go to the Patreon. So folks, thank you as always for listening. We'll see you next week with more G1 action. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Wrestling Omakase. Wrestling, of course, would not fit. And in the meantime, as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.